When Disney's Hollywood Studios theme park first opened, it really wanted to be a really real movie studio. Even going as far as to build a park around a lengthy studio tour, just like a real movie studio would have. Guests would start the tour in what is now the animation courtyard, where they would board trams to ride through Production Center, where guests could see cast members working on costumes and props for the upcoming films. Next was Residential Street, which was made up of fake houses used for establishing and exterior shots for various movies and shows, most famously, the Golden Girls house. Sometimes, Herbie the Lovebug would be hanging out here to say hello. The trams then headed for a tour of New York Street, an area that was, at the time, closed to park guests outside the tram tour, so the sets could be kept nice for filming. Following that was Catastrophe Canyon, a live demonstration of special effects used in films. The trams parked on a rickety bridge that shook as explosions and water effects went off all around, creating a really thrilling experience. On the way to and from the canyon, guests drove through the Boneyard, a collection of props and vehicles from various films and shows. After this, guests exited the trams for a short break at the midpoint of their 2-hour tour, before starting the walking section with a water tank demonstration, where volunteers could help showcase how water effects are used in films. Next was a brief showcase of exciting new developments in green screen technology. After that, guests walked through a raised path that looked down into a few sound stages where actual productions were sometimes filmed. There was also the Jim Henson Creature Shop, offering a look at some puppets and animatronics being developed. And finally, the tour ended by showing a preview of an upcoming Disney movie. It was a 2-hour-long experience that could rival the best studio tours in the world. There was one major issue though. It wasn't a real studio. Disney couldn't get anyone interested in moving to Florida just so they could film inside of a walking theme park where tour guests would stare down at them from the balconies at all time. And there's only so long you can keep guests interested in a 2-hour-long studio tour without a really real studio. So things start changing pretty quickly. The preview theater at the end of the tour was reworked into a Muppets-themed stage show. New York Street was cut off from the tour and added to the park itself. The tram section and the walking section were split into 2 separate attractions, so neither would be too long. Though the walking tour didn't really last on its own, often just operating seasonally without much to see, with most of it being replaced by Who Wants to Be a Millionaire show and the One Man's Dream Museum in 2001, before closing officially in 2002. In 2003, the next series of major cuts were made as Residential Street was demolished to make way for Lights Motor's Action Stunt Show. This also cut out a lot of the Boneyard, though a few of the props were saved to display still. This was when Disney finally admitted to themselves that Orlando wasn't going to become the Hollywood of the East Coast. There's still some fun displays along the tour route, but the once nearly 2-hour-long experience had been cut down to only a 14-minute ride, and in 2014, the remnants of the Backlot Tour were demolished to make way for Toy Story Land and Galaxy's Edge, signifying that Disney's Hollywood Studios was now fully and completely a theme park, and not a really real movie studio. Big thanks and shout out to Pix for suggesting this topic, I loved it. I could have sworn someone else suggested it too, but I cannot find that comment, so if that's you, comment so I can thank you too. And if anyone has any other requests, let me know down below.